Hey, what's up, you guys? Barry Barbell here to help you build the strength and nutrition habits for a life well lived. And today, I want to talk about change. Specifically, I want to talk about changing your habits and how you can make that an easier process for you, right? Because I know that changing your strength and nutrition habits in order to live your idea of a life well lived can be extremely difficult, right? So, I want to make this video to help you guys, to give you guys a framework that you can use in order to make that process as easy as possible. So, I'm going to be using the concepts and principles that I learned from a book called Switch by Chip and Dan Heath. I'm going to leave a link to that book down below in the description if you want to check it out for yourself and in order to get a more complete idea of it. But for now, let this video suffice. So, before I talk about the actual steps that you can take in order to make change as easy as possible for you, I first want to give you a framework, a frame of reference, right? So, think about your brain as two parts, right? There's two parts of your brain. There's the writer and there's the elephant, right? The writer is the part of you that's rational and logical. It's your willpower, right? It's the part of you that sees a goal and tries to see it through, right? The elephant is your irrational, your subconscious, your unconscious brain, right? That's the part of you that's really effective at moving through life, right? But it doesn't always make the best decisions for you, right? In the context of what you want to achieve, right? It always reverts to its unconscious patterns, your unconscious patterns, right? And then there's a third part in terms of how you navigate life, and that's your path, right? So there's a rider and there's an elephant, and those two are on a path, right? And so those are the three factors that go into changing your habits for a life well lived, right? You need to be able to give the rider a direction, you need to be able to motivate the elephant to move you there, and you need to shape the path to make it as easy as possible. So, how do you do that? Right? I'll give you an example. So, for me, I wanted to quit smoking, right? That's my goal. So, in order to give the rider a direction, you want to give yourself a clear and specific goal, right? So, it can't just be quit smoking in my case. For your case, maybe you want to lose weight, right? Maybe you want to lose weight, you want to lose fat. So lose fat just can't be the goal. That's not a clear enough direction for your rider to pursue, right? It's super vague, super ambiguous, and because it's so vague, your rider won't know where to go. So you'll revert back to the elephant brain, and your elephant brain is just unconscious, moving through life, doing whatever the fuck it feels like, right? You'll never make a change that way. Right, so you need to make a clear and specific goal. For me, my goal is to go 1 year smoke free. Right, so 1 year without smoking. For you, you want to lose weight, you want to lose body fat, right? Change your body composition. So maybe instead of lose weight, you could say, I want to, and it's easier if you make it a behavior goal. It's easy if you make it a behavior goal because that's something that you can control easier. So let's say part of the reason why you identified why it's difficult for you to lose weight is you identify that you have a habit of eating out, like you eat a lot of fast food in your car, right? So let's say a goal for you would be to eat 0 meals in your car for the next 30 days, right? So that'll keep you from going out eating fast food and eating it in your car, right? All right, so there's one. That's one specific goal, right? You want to give yourself a clear direction, right? Next, you want to look for the bright spots, right? You want to look for the stuff that you're already doing well, and you want to multiply that, right? So for me, my bright spot in quitting smoking is the fact that I've done it before, right? I've gone years, months, without smoking before when I was in my early 20s. Between the ages of 23 to like 27, I didn't smoke, right? So that's a bright spot for me. I can just take what I did during that period of time and then apply it to my life right now, right? For you, what could be a bright spot? Uh, let's say you have the habit of eating fast food in your car, but you don't do that every time you drive, right? So let's say find out those times where you don't go pick up fast food in your car, right? Identify those and then figure out what you're doing in those times and try to apply it to every other time that you're in your car, right? That's the bright spot. So now you have your clear goal, go 30 days without eating in your car, and now you have more of a clear idea of how to get it done by looking at the bright spots, right? So that's it, directing the writer, right? Next, you want to motivate the elephant, right? Because your willpower is only so strong, right? Eventually your willpower will break and you'll revert back to your unconscious habits, right? And that's the elephant. And for you right now, your unconscious habits are not helping you achieve your goal, right? So for me, motivating my elephant to quit smoking, right? It was the fact that I climbed five flight of stairs one day and I was a little bit winded, and that was alarming for me. And also, I was having sexual intercourse with a young lady, and I got winded during that. And I was like, hey, man, we something has to change, right? Right. So that was it. So on top of the damage that I felt like I was doing to my body, and the fact that I was spending money that I should not have been spending, those two things alone weren't enough to motivate me. But the fact that I couldn't fuck the way I wanted to fuck, and that I couldn't climb stairs the way I wanted to climb stairs, was alarming to me. And so that's motivation enough for me to want to change my habits, right? For you, let's say you want to stop eating fast food in your car. What could be your motivation for that? Right? It could be hopefully it's not a diagnosis and that of ill health, of diabetes or heart disease or something like that. Hopefully it's not that bad. But if you have a history of that stuff in your family and you want to try to avoid it, that could be a source of motivation. Um, let's say you just had a kid, you want to be there for your kid as you watch them grow up. That could serve as a motivation. Whatever it is, you want to find something that's emotional for you and let that serve as your motivation. Let that fuel you to keep you going, right? Next, the next thing you want to do is shape the path that you're on, right? So that means changing your environment to make it as easy as possible for you to continue making this change, right? So for me, in quitting smoking, right? In order for me to buy my cannabis, my weed, I'd have to walk up a huge hill. And to walk up the huge hill, I would have to go down into the city, go to the ATM and get cash out, right? And getting cash out of the ATM is pretty inconvenient for me, right? And of course, walking up that big ass hill is inconvenient for me, right? So for me, the path is already kind of set to be almost easy, right? Because I have to go out of my way to go smoke. The only thing that's challenging in my environment is I have a roommate who smokes, and sometimes he invites me. But most of the time, I have enough willpower to just say, no, man, I'm not smoking right now, right? So that's it. For you, eating in your car, if that's the habit that you want to change, let's say, how can you change your environment so that you're not eating in the car? Let's say maybe you like to keep a stash of cash, right? You keep like a little change in the ashtray, right? And that helps you like buy a cheeseburger here and there, right? Every now and again as you're driving. So maybe you want to remove that cash from your car so that you're not tempted to You're not tempted every time you drive by Wendy's to go buy like a 4-piece chicken nuggets with the change that you have in your ashtray, right? Uh, Maybe something else you could do is, I don't know, you could get a new car. Get a new car and say like, "Hey man, I don't want to mess up the upholstery of this new car." Right? So that'll be a new environment for you. Whatever it is, you got to change your environment to make it as easy as possible. Or you could spend less time in your car, right? Maybe you get a new job so you don't have to commute as much. Or you arrange like a carpool situation, or you decide to walk to work, or you decide to take public transportation to work, right? Instead of driving, you can walk and take public transportation more. That's a good way to change your environment so that you're not tempted to eat food in the car. You can't eat food in the car if you're not in the car, right? So there you go. That's an example of changing your environment. So you want to shape the path that you're on to make change as easy as possible. Um, but yeah, I definitely encourage you guys to check out the book down below. It's called Switch by Chip and Dan Heath. It's a great resource if you're trying to make changes to your life that seem difficult, almost impossible for you to achieve by yourself. And of course, I'm here also as your guide to developing the strength and nutrition habits for a life well lived. So reach out to me if you want some help. Um, I hope to see you guys in the next video. This is Barry Barbell helping you build the strength and nutrition habits for a life well lived. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.